The purpose of this lesson on technical report writing is to work out what we call a traceability matrix for examining your conclusions, your recommendations, and the extent to which those are in fact validated by data provided in the report. Let's just look at the purpose statement of this report. This report analyzes the availability of diesel locomotives at Umzila Rail Engineering for the 2019-2020 financial year with recommendations to eliminate breakdowns. Please note, as indicated above, this is a teaching example. All of this is fictional, okay? Even the sources are fictional, obviously, to protect any associations that may be made with assumed or imagined people. Okay, so the introduction is there. It operates a fleet of diesel locomotives used for freight movement, yard shunting, and regional rail operations. The company experienced repeated locomotive downtime. So there's the introduction. Not a normal introduction in that it isn't broken up into needs and scope and definition of terms and methodology and so forth, but it's there. There's the introduction. The problem stated right here is that the diesel locomotive fleet was not consistently available during that financial year, although the fleet was expected to support scheduled rail operations. Internal maintenance summaries indicate that the locomotive availability fell below the company's internal target of 82% in 7 of the 12 reporting months. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run this through artificial intelligence, but one can do it manually, obviously for purposes of conciseness. I have decided to run it through Claude and to ask Claude to do a traceability of conclusions. All right, so let's go there. Right, now as I teach people in the lessons on AI, I ask AI to develop the perfect prompt for AI. I could, of course, just narrate it, but that would include too many iterations. So I'm just going to paste that prompt in. And the prompt says, below is a technical report. Do not comment on style, grammar, or tone. Run a traceability audit for each recommendation. Work backwards and tell me which conclusion does it rest on, quote it. Which finding supports that conclusion, quote it. Which table of figures produce that finding, name it. Mark any recommendations that cannot complete in all 3 steps as untraced and say exactly which line breaks. They run the test forwards, list any cause, then run the test forwards, List any cause identified in the report that produces no recommendation. That's the point. We're trying to work out whether the assertions of the recommendations or the conclusions do have actually any kind of genesis in data itself. And if the report is found deficient, the matrix will show that. So let me go and attach that report and we'll do this. So here we go, going to add the report itself, and it should be here, the rail engineering report, traceability, there it is. So let's run the test. Okay, so there's the prompt. Below is a technical report. Do not comment on style, grammar, or tone. Run a traceability audit. There we go. Now I'll put that prompt in the description should you want to use it, but I'm sure you can get AI to generate one for you. So running a command, extract full text and tables from uploaded polished report, and let's see what it comes up with. I'll show the HTML that I created in design as a full result, but you'll see the result will appear here as well. I did ask Claude to run a dry one. Ran it exactly as instructed. Alright, R2, R3, R4, R5, okay, traces. The forward check. Every course now has a recommendation attached and availability short covered by R4. No orphan causes. Nothing produces a recommendation free dead end. Okay. All right. Let's go and have a look at that HTML. So, right, there's a full audit, but let's go and have a look at the HTML file that I created anyway. All right. And that HTML is over here. Let's just have a look. Recommendation. Stricter preventative maintenance schedule. Conclusion 3.1, it rests on that. So the recommendation rests the conclusion and the finding that supports it. Data in the body, no table, just the phrase. Okay, so therefore untraced. Critical spares register, so on and so on. None, no data in the body, untraced. Standardized defect reporting. All right, none, untraced. All right, strengthened monthly available, untraced. Monthly reliability improvement meeting, untraced. Okay, so here's a more functional looking one, but it concurs exactly row for row. That's the HTML and the markdown that you're looking at right here. So there's the HTML. Untraced, the recommendation rests on a conclusion whose supporting finding cannot be followed back to a table, figure, or data set in the body of the report. So what's the purpose of this video? To actually run a report through all your criteria. And the criteria, I'll be honest, I did ask Claude to develop those criteria for me, and it simply goes with the 5 recommendations and works out that in fact they are particularly weak. They may look good in the report, but they are weak. Now remember, let's go and have a look at that report again. That report looked pretty good, but in fact functionally it's not that good at all. Let's have a look at that report. All right, purpose statement, introduction, the problem stated, the findings, okay, all right, and the second table, okay, downtime by failure category, downtime by fleet age band, and then the causes. All right, then we get down to our solutions and recommendations, and this is where the rubber hits the road, or the tar, should we say. Right, so 3rd, 4th, and 5th, there are those 5 recommendations, and they are, as it were, untraced. Okay, and therefore this report is not good. So this could be a tool for you examining your own report. It could be a tool for you examining the report submitted by your colleagues or your subordinates. Run it through the matrix and then produce this little report using Claude. I must say I did create the good-looking traceability matrix on the first pass through the report in Claude Design, whereas in fact in the background we are here working with Claude Cowork over here. See, so we're working with Chat and Cowork, as you can see up there. All right, but basically it comes up with the same conclusions. The next step would obviously be to throw this report back at the writer and say, no, these are untraced, unverifiable, therefore you need to go and find the correct data and support your conclusions and your recommendations.